Hello friends, today we are going to see the gear hobbing, which is a gear manufacturing method. In that we'll cover the introduction to the gear hobbing, principle, gear hobbing process, hobbing techniques, advantage of gear hobbing, limitation and application of hobbing techniques. So before going that, we'll discuss about the gear manufacturing method. There are three major methods are there: machining method, casting, and other methods. In machining, there is a gear milling, gear shaping. In gear shaping, there is a pinion cutter and rack cutter. Then the gear hobbing, that is a climb and conventional hobbing. So in today's lecture, we are covering this gear hobbing, gear broaching, and gear planning. And in the casting, there are two processes: sand casting and die casting. In others, that is the stamping process, rolling, extrusion, plastic molding, and powder metallurgy. So first we'll see what is gear hobbing. So gear hobbing is a process of generating gear teeth by means of rotating cutter known as hob that revolves and cut like a milling cutter. So if you see in this diagram, this is a gear hob and this gear hob is rotating, and the gear blank which comes in mesh with the gear hob, and cutting will takes place just like a milling cutter. So basically, if you see the gear hob, it is a cylindrical in shape with a helical teeth on that. You see, so here the number of teeth on the periphery you can observe. So that's why it is called as a multi-point cutting, multi-point cutter. Due to that reason, the cutting will take place at a very faster rate. Hob is made with any desired pitch and can be used to manufacture the gear of that pitch. Means this is a actually hob, and first we'll see the pitch, the distance between the two threads, I can say, or tooth will give you the pitch. So if you want a same pitch, right, on the gear blank, so you have to use the same type of gear hob which having the same pitch as that of workpiece which is required. So any number of teeth can be cut on gear blank. So it is a continuous process, as there is no break in between the tooth generation. So that's why it is called as a continuous process. Principle of operation: gear hobbing is a machining process in which gear teeth are progressively generated by a series of cut with a helical cutting tool, which is called as a hob. In this diagram, we can see this is a hob, which is a cylindrical one, right? And gear blank. So gear blank is mounted on the vertical shaft, and gear hob is mounted on the horizontal shaft or a spindle. You can see in this diagram also, this is a gear blank which is mounted on the vertical spindle, and hob which is mounted on the horizontal shaft. So gear hob and hob and gears are rotated continuously during the entire process, which is obtained by gear train. So the continuous process will take place. Both the hob and the gear, they are continuously rotating throughout the process, and that controlling parameter we can done through the gear trains. Now the gear blank is moved inward towards the rotating hob until the proper depth is reached. So you can see inward means, so when you are generating a teeth or tooth on the blank, at that time you have to feed the blank against the cutter till it reaches to the depth which is required on the gear blank. The hob, mostly the sizes are 75 to 150 mm in diameter gear hobbing process. In gear hobbing, there are three operative motion. You can see which are that three. One is the hob rotation. So we can rotate, means rotatory motion is given to the hob. At the same time, the gear blank, we are also giving the rotatory motion. You can see on your screen. And third one is the hob feed. So we are feeding the hob against the workpiece from top to the bottom. In this process, the hob and the gear blank are mounted on the shaft that are right angle to each other. You can see in this diagram. So this is the axis of the gear blank, and the red one is the axis of the hob, and they both are intersecting with each other, means at 90 degree. Okay. Even you can see the hob axis may be either horizontal or vertical. This is what we are showing, the vertical one, and horizontal, you can see in this diagram here also, the hob which we are mounting on the horizontal axis or horizontal spindle. Here also you can see on the horizontal spindle we can mount. So this is about the, means hob can be mounted horizontal also as well as the vertical also. The gear blank is then moved towards the hob until the proper depth is reached. You can see, means unless and until when we are feeding the blank against the hob cutter until we reach a proper depth, then only the process will get start. So as soon as the proper depth is achieved, then the hob is feed in a direction parallel to the axis of rotation of the gear blank. Means you can see in this diagram, this is the axis of the hob cutter, right? And means we are feeding, sorry, axis means we are feeding the hob in a vertical direction, that of the workpiece. Okay, so means both the feeding is done parallel to the axis of the shaft, or right, or axis of the gear blank. That is the meaning of. Both the hob and blanks are rotated as if they are in mesh with each other. So naturally, there are rotatory motion given to the hob also as well as to the blank also, and then the cutting action will take place. You can see the teeth start on the gear blank there. So both they are rotating, hob also as well as the blank also. The speed of two are so adjusted, two means speed of the gear blank and the hob, they are adjusted that the blank rotated through a one pitch distance for a one complete revolution of the hob. Means as we know that when we are cutting the teeth on the gear blank with the hob, then again the workpiece or the blank has to be rotated to a one pitch. Okay, so at that time the hob will take a one complete rotation. So like that the process will takes place continuously, and ultimately the teeth will get generated on the gear blank, and that's why we are seeing that it is a continuous process. Means there is no break in between the two teeth generation or between the number of teeth generations, I can see. So there is a hobbing technique. It is also called as a type of gear hobbing. So there are two. One is a climb hobbing and other one is a conventional hobbing. So in the climb hobbing, the hob is feed from bottom of the gear blank to the top of the gear blank. It means in this way we are continuously moving the, you can see that this is a feed, means the cutter will or the hob will rotate, okay, continuously, and it moves in a upward direction. So that is called as a climb. Means it is just climbing it up. That's why the name is given as a climb hobbing. Is it clear? So from bottom of the gear blank to the top of the gear blank, the cutter will try to feed it. In the conventional, it is just opposite to that. Hob is feed from top of the gear blank to the bottom of the gear blank. You can see here. So this cutter is now moving from top of the gear blank to the bottom, and the feeding will take place. Now, one more thing, what are the chip formation takes place? The chips start thick at the beginning. I will show you one sketch here. So when in the climb hopping, the chip which is generated, which will be thick at the beginning, and then it will get reduced. Okay, means thin, means thick to thin, I can say, which is possible in the climb hopping. And here again it is opposite. Chip start thin at the beginning. Means again I will show you on the sketch. So from here at the beginning the chip formation is very thin and it goes on increasing. You can see that this is a chip we are removed thick. So this is a basic difference between the climb hopping and the conventional hopping. As per the advantage is concerned, it is a faster and continuous process. So because the continuous teeth generation will take place on the blank progressively, rate of production is high as it cut several teeth simultaneously. So means more than one teeth will cut at a time. That's why it is called as a rate of production is high. Then how machine is set up is simple and quick, means it is very easy to set. High accuracy can be obtained as we know that it is a continuous process without a break between the two teeth generation, so we can maintain the high accuracy in the gear hopping. Many gear of same size can be cut simultaneously. Okay, means same size of gear. Once you are whatever the hop we are taking, okay, we are mounting on the spindle. So at that time the same size of gears can be generated. If you want other, then again you have to go for the other hop tool, and again different type of sizes can be generated then. So this is we can generate a spur gear, helical gear, worm gear, or a sprocket or a spline. This is all about application. I will show you on the next slide also. Long shafts and spline can be easily accommodated on the hopping machine. As we know that here, this is actually the splines. So straight teeth we are generating, right? So if you want a long spline is there and you have to cut the straight teeth over that, then the gear hopping is basically used. So as per the limitation is concerned, here it cannot generate you can see it cannot generate internal gears. Here if you want this internal teeth, it is not possible in the gear hopping. It can cut the gears which are having shoulder and flange. Means it cannot cut if the gear having the flange like this. So in that case we can't generate the teeth on the gear blank. Otherwise what happens, the cutter will make a dash over this flange. That is the reason. It cannot produce unsymmetrical shape, means other than the cylindrical, it is not possible in the gear hopping. These are the major three limitations of the gear hopping process. So as per the application is concerned, we can see in the we can generate the spur gears, we can generate the helical gears, or even the worm gear is possible in the gear hopping techniques. So thank you, friend.